Start with 5, and Paul Briggs can talk about it.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm now going to call the December 3rd, 2019 Town Board Agenda Meeting to order. We're going to go slightly out of order while we wait for our Town Comptroller, Paul Sebesta. If I could defer to Paul Briggs, our Town Attorney, to begin discussing item number 5.
Number 5 is we're close to entering into the contract. We only have 2 small issues to resolve. One has to do with longevity. The other has to do with the time card system that we're implementing in the town. But I believe that'll be resolved in time for to have a contract in place for the town board meeting. Number 6 is a resolution authorizing the supervisor to enter into an animal control sheltering contract. I've reviewed the contract. I have a couple issues with that. Looks like the fees are the same as last year, and I'll be recommending that the board pass. I'll be recommending a resolution for the town board at the next meeting based on that contract.
Thank you, Paul.
Great, thank you. Paul Sebesta, we skipped you in the beginning, so now we'll go back to you.
Oh, sorry. Where are we?
1.
Town board meeting dates. We have some proposals that are being considered. Need a little further review, but for the most part, they're ready. To this 2020 salary schedule. I am tomorrow going to circulate what is included in the 2020 budget, along with all the current part-time employee hourly rates for consideration and feedback, so I can create a resolution for December and pay people right from the first of the year. Number 3, resolution to modify the employee handbook. We've requested and received some input from several department heads regarding changes they would like to see incorporated in the handbook. So that's going to be circulated as well, and possibly adopted in December, if not early next year. Audit services, we are being contacted by CUSAC, who's performed our independent audit for about 5 years now, and we need to have a resolution authorizing their hiring. I believe their annual fee is $20,750. It's a 1% increase, and in the finance committee we discussed staying with them 1 more year, and then starting the request for proposals sometime mid next year for a potential change for the 2020 audit. CUSAC has done a great job. I really don't anticipate saving any money or changing even, but it is proper to periodically go out to the market and see who's out there. There's several firms, many of them that I contact my office regularly, or I see out in at different events. So we're happy, but you don't know until you look. Number 5 is the renewal of the CSEA.
We did.
Oh, yeah, we
Got
did
it down.
those.
Oh, what'd I do?
We did 5
We're done.
and 6.
We did 5 and 6.
Oh, okay. I'm all set.
I think so, yeah, unless you want to discuss budget mods.
Budget mods 22.
Okay. Budget mods.
23.
There are some minor budget mods for being December. It's tells me we're staying pretty close to our budget, which is good. Usually December is there's a much longer list of budget mods. So
Still early, Paul.
that's excuse me.
It's
It's good news.
Mhm.
So and there's primarily the major money is a movement of what's referred to as residual equity. A residual equity transfer from capital projects that is was not necessary to complete the projects. You try to get the amount as close as possible when we bond, but the wastewater treatment plant with the phases and the rapid process of design bid left just over $300,000 in phase 2. So that goes back to sewer 6 and sewer 1, which just shares a small portion of that expense and the residual equity that's left over. And then that's about it.
Okay. Thank you. We'll move on to the chief.
Okay, number 7, resolution to employ a part-time discovery window clerk for the police department. We'd like to bring on one part-time clerk for the end of the month to give the person a week to train and get up to speed on the discovery procedures. The second part-timer will likely be coming in first week of February. To be able to do that, we'll also be having one of our sergeants just doing oversight on it in the initial phases and that kind of thing to make sure we're covering that appropriately. Number 8, the MOU with the County District Attorney's Office is just to facilitate compliance with the discovery reform. We have to meet certain obligations for them so that they can provide discovery information to the defendants and their representation. So that's just something we have to put a couple finishing touches on and send over to them to sign as well. That's all I have. Any questions?
How do you anticipate this new discovery process going? Is that going to be a lot of man hours, a little, or is there just too much unknown right now?
Well, it's certainly unknown. I think initially it's going to be quite a bit of a learning curve. It's something that currently only when we have an arrest that then goes to motions before trial does the police department provide that information to the district attorney's office so they can turn it over. Now it's going to be every arrest, every traffic ticket, essentially every piece of paper we create will have to be uploaded for them.
And a lot of it will have to be uploaded. My understanding is a lot quicker.
So there's a lot of different timeframes, but the most important one is 15 days from arraignment. They have to have everything from the case
Yes.
at that point. So
Yeah.
Initially it'll be pretty arduous, but I think, as the district attorney's office and the different law enforcement agencies see how it settles out, it'll be good. That's it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Now move on to Laura.
So as mentioned before, we are in need of alternate members to the zoning board. I did receive, I know there's 2 that are in the wings. I'm just waiting for the resumes. And then I have a third one, Cameron Bagg, which I just sent the resume out to you guys tonight. And then number 10 is a resolution to appoint members to the Complete Streets Committee. And the 2 people that were interested reached out to Bill Chapman. Thank you. And their names are Paulina Manzo and Carla Dougal. One of them attended our meeting. They seemed very interested and ready to help. So I'm looking forward to working with those guys. And then the Climate Smart Communities Task Force, number 11, sorry. We appointed a bunch of people really quickly because we needed to already have a meeting, which we did, but we did have other people that were waiting in the wings and we were waiting for the resumes. And Daryl Bray was one of them. He provided the resume. You guys all know him. He comes and contributes a lot to the town. So I'm very interested in appointing him. And there may be a name or 2 on that one as well that I will be able to send to you so that we have a full committee. But the first meeting went really well. They all kind of have tasks and they've been emailing each other. So I'm very happy with them. They're already working away and it was only 1 meeting. So, Number 12, a resolution to appoint student worker for planning department. That's actually supposed to be student intern. That's my intern that I've had actually for over a year. She does a great job. Her name's Danielle Flint. And so I'd like to keep her on for as long as she's willing to stay. And then number 13 is a resolution to appoint student workers as the videographers. Those are the two, wizards behind the curtain back there that keep the things going online and video for us. So I would like to reappoint them. They do a great job. And any questions on those? Sorry, I'm really out of it. Alexis, do you want to do the next one? Yeah.
Okay.
Hello. So this is 14. So it's calling, I know how to phrase it. I just put informational presentation on the proposed master license agreement with Verizon for deployment of 5G to present either by myself or by Verizon if they're able to come at the next town board meeting. And then ideally, we'd also have a resolution to enter into the master license agreement. I talked to a few of you about this agreement. Although it's not required to have a public hearing, I think it's important that the public is brought up to speed that we're entering into this agreement. It's 15 years with an automatic 15-year renewal unless there's a breach. It also has its minimum of about $120,000 a year for the full term of the agreement in license fees, just straight out, and then a minimum of $225,000, maximum of $500,000 in application fees. That will be a one-time fee over the next 5 years. And so I've already touched base with Ray Smith, with Matt Yetto, Josh Hawley, Laura Robertson about the logistics, but I think we should now educate the public because these would be going in the right of ways. So once we have a couple of meetings, this has been with Councilwoman McGraw, another internal meeting on the proposed master license agreement. Hopefully we could then enter into it by the end of this year because Verizon entered into a similar agreement with the city of Schenectady and would like to piggyback their deployment in 2020 in Niskayuna with the deployment in Schenectady. So one other thing to mention is I think it's important we have a presentation because we contractually bind ourselves to at least consider revisions to the town code within 120 days of entering into the agreement. Similar to the CCA, where we had to add that provision to our town code, they had sent us over a proposed new chapter to the town code. So is that okay with everyone for the presentation, at least? And I can send everyone the agreement beforehand.
What were the revenue figures again?
So these are set by the FCC. They issued an order on the maximum fees that you can charge. So the maximum is $1,000 per application that would be going through the building department, anywhere between 450 applications to 600. So that's where I got the 225 to 500,000. And then it's $270 per year per attachment. So like I said, 450 to 600 attachments, and those are license fees for the term of the agreement, which is 15 to 30 years. So this would be completely separate. It's kind of like our franchise fees, how they're brought in, except these aren't dependent on a revenue. These are just predictable.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to Matt Yetto.
Yeah, 15 is a resolution to appoint or reappoint Rob Schneider as a student worker in our office. He's worked with us for, I think, a year and a half, and he's been very good. And I'd like to keep him on for next summer and then some of the breaks for next year. 16 is a resolution to appoint a plant trainee at the wastewater treatment plant. We have 3 applicants. 2 look good. I have 1 additional interview, and we'll have a recommendation finally to fill that position. It's been a long time coming. They need the hands, especially this time of year, as far as snow removal and other maintenance operations. So it would be good to have them. 17 is authorizes the supervisor to enter into a maintenance agreement with Trahugel Engineering. It's a company that provides our tech support for our SCADA system. It's a software maintenance contract. We do that every year. It's just under $1,700. 18 is a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign a maintenance agreement with Harris. It's the company that makes our utility billing software for water billing and sewer billing. That's just under $7,000 for the year. 19 is a resolution to authorize the supervisor to sign an inspection and maintenance contract with CorPro. It's a company that inspects and repairs our cathodic protection system on our water tanks. It's a system that keeps the corrosion from happening on our tanks. 20 is a resolution to purchase a 1-ton dump truck. We're finalizing a mini bid and we'll have results prior to the next meeting. We're able to move enough money from the operating budget to pay for this without bonding or touching fund balance. 21 is every year we do contracts for purchasing of materials and chemicals for use by the Water and Sewer Department. It's just the standard valves, pipe, all that stuff. We'll have a bid opening just prior to the board meeting. We'll have recommendations for the meeting. 22, Paul covered already. 23 and 24 are calling for public hearings to look at the possibility of adjusting the water and sewer rents. I think we discussed it briefly at Finance. We were going to talk more about it at Public Works, but we may have to have some internal meetings prior to the public hearing, but I think we want to leave them on there just to leave it open so we can have the public hearing. And I would like to add 25. It was a late addition. You may have it on your list.
20, yeah, it's 20 on our list.
It is 20 on your list?
The truck?
No, it's
Oh.
Resolution to approve the reconciliation for the first half of,
Oh, yeah.
for the
Okay.
commercial and residential utility bills
Mhm.
for the first half of 2019. Chris has the numbers finalized and we just have to approve it at the next meeting.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Matt.
Great. Thank you. Are there any other questions, additions, subtractions? And we do have one addition.
We need to reappoint someone on the Board of Assessment Review because his term has expired, so we need a resolution to do that. That would be 26.
Thank you. Okay.
Sounds good.
Great. Are there any other additions, subtractions, questions? Okay. Without any further questions or additions, I'm now going to motion to adjourn. If I could have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signified by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And we are adjourned. Everybody have a wonderful evening.